myself, my name's Ashton, and I look quite young. I look quite. My name's Ashton, and I look a bit older than we think because a lot of people think I'm a bit older than my sister, who is 2 years older than me. Maybe I'm just taller.
Hi, my name is Helena. I'm 12, turning 13. But does age really matter though? I'm a mother of 3 guinea pigs, which I named after caffeinated beverages. Not that I like caffeinated beverages though, they're just very cute names.
My name is Celicia with a C and not an S. During my free time during the holiday, I like to go diving instead of staying at home. I like to read as well during my free time when I have time to do stuff, when it's not school or when I don't have homework or I'm following my brothers with football.
My name is Zizu and I'm older than my younger brother.
Hi, my name is Tamikira. How old am I? I'm a year older than I was last year, which means I'm 12 years old.
My name is Sarah. I'm not 38 yet. I live in KL, the place where everyone wants to be.
I enjoy writing because it gives me a sense of freedom and I can express myself that way, because for me it's a bit harder to express myself doing other things. So I think writing helps me express how I'm feeling.
I like writing because I feel like I can portray my emotions through words. I write what I relate to and try to show it through stories.
I like writing because I feel that I can express my thoughts through it, and it helps me write better in general.
Writing is something I go to for comfort. I write to get away from all the stress and the pressure of the real world. Writing is something I consider fun, unless there's a time limit, of course.
I like writing because I love to use my imagination, and I also love coming up with plot twists for stories, because whenever I read a story, I always like to come up with plot twists in my head, and I always think of like different alternate endings for whatever story that I read, because I just find it really interesting to be able to come up with stuff like that, and to be able to write them down in a story makes it even cooler and more interesting for me.
Because it's relaxing and fun. So I try and write like my favorite authors, but I always fail. Rick Riordan and Brandon Mao.
I really do love writing. It's like an escape from reality.
Okay, well, I have a love-hate relationship with writing. Sometimes I can write like 1,000 words in less than 5 minutes, but sometimes I can't even think of one sentence.
Do I really like writing? Yes, I'm extremely sure that I like writing.
Yes, I'm sure, but honestly, it's hard for me sometimes because for some reason, I can always have good ideas in my head, but whenever I try to actually write them down, they just don't seem as good. And also, I get nervous to write sometimes because I feel uncomfortable when other people read what I write. But overall, yes, I do enjoy writing.
Yeah, of course.
Well, it really depends on what the topic is and who the teacher is.
Not much, really.
Quite a bit. More than anyone at home. Quite possibly 2.
I read about 1,200 pages a week. In a month, I'd say that's about, well, in total, I think about 12 books if I manage to complete all of them.
I read a lot, especially when I have free time or when I have like an assignment to read a story, and I do enjoy reading. I always read. I sometimes read in the car while the car is moving, which is bad for your eyes. Sometimes I even read in the dark, which is also bad for your eyes. Thankfully, I have no glasses. I do like reading because it helps me cope and have some time to do whatever I like.
I love to read. My head is always dipped into a book. Seriously, I spend most of my free time reading.
I read when I'm sad, I read when I'm happy. I read every minute that I'm free, and sometimes I don't have time to read, but I still read. Okay, fine. I read every night before I go to sleep. But unfortunately, I'm still a human, which means some chapters I will still hate, but I'll still drag myself to read them anyways. You give me any magical fantasy book, and I might not even be able to sleep through the night.
My story is about a boy who made a terrible mistake and he didn't realize it, his friends did, and he wanted to change because something terrible happened to someone or something he loved and he felt bad about it, so he really wanted to change for the better.
Have you ever been insulted because of something you genuinely love? Have you had a conflict with yourself over what others have said? My story is about this. A girl going through a bunch of changes for her friends, only to realize her true self is one she cannot change.
This story is about a kid named Hafiz who meets an autistic boy named Arif who gets bullied in his new school.
Well, my story is basically about two friends who enter an essay writing competition and they have to compete against each other. So both of them have very different personalities. One of them is timid while the other one is more headstrong. So I guess that makes it more interesting. Yeah, and that's all I can say without spoiling.
It's about a boy named Zikri. Now, being the psychology geek that I am, I gave him a not very well-known condition called psychosis. Although it's not a very common condition, it's not rare either. So what happens is Zikri has voices in his head, which he's not been able to get to quiet down the voices, until one day he stumbles across this young boy named Umar, who is magically able to silence all the noises in his head. Then things happen after that.
It's about a boy who argued with his mom, and after his father, who he loved very much, had a fatal car accident, the arguments just got worse and worse until he had the decision to run away from home. If you want to hear what happens next, then you have to read the book.
I loved the program because I was able to expand my knowledge about writing. I learned new techniques and ways to improve my story.
Or being able to write with other authors.
I like that the classes were active and interesting, and that even though it was quite a big class, we all had our chance to say something or take part in the lesson at least once.
What I liked about the program is it teaching me new things about writing. There were some terms I never ever knew, but now I know. I learned to put in effort to things because, without jokes, writing the story that is going to be published in a book is extremely hard.
I liked that I got to practice writing more because in the program we didn't just learn technical stuff about writing, we actually got to practice everything in class. And I never really practiced writing much outside of school, so I really like that I got to be able to write more during this program.
I like that out of the program, I got to make something that I can look back at and be proud of. This is the first time that I wrote something that's going to be published, and I'm very excited about it. I hated having to balance work from the program along with schoolwork and tuitions, but it was worth it in the end, so I guess I can't really hate it that much.
The homework. Just kidding. There's nothing much I really hated. The lessons were enjoyable and I looked forward to it.
I didn't really hate that much things, but I think that the classes were a bit long, but I know that amount of time is supposed to be used to train yourself to write a story properly.
Something I hated about the lesson and that stressed me out was that sometimes I didn't manage to finish my work during the lessons. I had to find time after class to finish that.
I didn't really hate anything about the program itself, but what I didn't like was that it was on Saturday mornings because I love to sleep in on Saturdays, mostly because I have to wake up really early for school during the week. So Saturdays and Sundays are the only days which I get to sleep in. So if I had to pick something that I hated about the program, I guess, that would be it.
Having to send my works to Miss Bridget. I don't know, that's a bit stressful.
Yes, I definitely did learn things. I learned to make new friends. I learned new terms for writing. And most importantly, I learned that you need a lot of effort to write a book, or at least write even stories in a book.
Yes, of course, I learned stuff. The program was really detailed. I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't learn in school because school mostly teaches us the basic stuff about writing. But the way that they teach us is more for writing school essays and for exams. But I think this program was more into the creative side of writing, which I really liked. Yeah.
I learned new ways to write my story professionally and what authors go through to publish a book.
Yeah, I learned many things. I learned to write better.
Yeah, I learned a lot, like how to write better. I learned how to improve my introductions, incorporate my character's personality into my writing using dialogue and descriptions, and a lot more.
From the junior writer program, I learned a lot, especially the day before Ms. Bridget sent the Zoom meeting code. So she'd send us a Word document with everything that we had to go through before the lesson started. And I think from that Word document itself, I learned a lot more.
It is definitely less stressful than being in physical. It's definitely it's online, so it's definitely less stressful than if it was physical.
For me, the most stressful part was probably writing the story for the book and also having to share my writing in class and read aloud. Because like I said earlier, I always get nervous to share my writing with other people. But now I'm getting used to it, I think.
The most stressful part was probably the amount of work I had to do during and after the class. But in order to achieve something, you have to work hard, so I guess the stress was very worth it.
I wouldn't say the program caused me a lot of stress. I genuinely enjoyed going for classes. But I would say the last few weeks when my story was going back and forward between me and Bridget thrilled me and showed me a glimpse of what authors go through.
In my opinion, if I were to talk about the most stressful part, it would be that I had to always think about using the right word, whether I was using the wrong word and it had the wrong meaning, and I would screw up the entire story.
I did have fun. Miss Bridget was talking about, of course, we have fun during the lesson.
Yeah, definitely. I had so much fun getting to know my fellow author friends. Some of them are really funny. Some of them are really inspiring. I probably had much more fun than I should have had.
I did have a lot of fun, especially the classes when we did work in groups.
Well, yes, I got to make new friends. I got to talk to old friends. And in general, it was quite a journey trying to write stories in a book.
Yes, of course. Actually, I joined this program because my mom asked me to. She was like, hey, this program is good, you should join. So I did, and at first I thought it was going to be really boring, like just another class, but it was actually pretty fun for me.
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, it's fun, I just cannot explain it. Yeah, it's fun, I just cannot explain it.
Well, you don't only get to read the uncontinued part of my story, but you get to read other people's stories, and some of the money that you used to buy the book will be going to charity. And I mean, if you ask me, that's a good deal.
Buy the book, buy one, no three, buy a whole bunch. The royalties will help kids from vulnerable communities. You should buy the book because everyone spends so much time writing their stories.
We put our blood, sweat, and tears into this book. We would really appreciate if you bought it for your daughter, for your son, for your mom, for your dad, for your grandmother, for your grandfather, even for your next door neighbors. So please buy the book. Buy one, no three, buy a whole bunch. Plus, I can assure you you'll have a good time reading all of our stories, as we put so much effort into them.
Well, you guys should buy the book because it'll keep you company during the pandemic. And you know, it's really fun.
Well, you don't have to, but I really recommend that you do. You buy it for your family and your friends and your family's friends, because it's not only an interesting book, but it's also a fun book with many stories in it.
Buying the book will also really encourage other young writers out there. Yeah.
Come on guys, buy the book. we work so hard for it.
Christmas is coming, so I definitely think you should buy the book for your family and friends. And if you don't think it's good, I think you should read the book and then you'll agree that it's a really good book.
All I have to say now is buy the book. Please buy the book. I'm sure all the other writers' stories are extremely enjoyable, and it's quite a long book, so you have many stories to read in your free time. And you'll see all the arguments, but you'll see all the nice endings of it. I mean, you can buy 2 copies of the book, 3 copies, 10 copies. But like, imagine if the book was so bought that it was on the top and bestseller.